Today we talk about army groups because why the fuck not? Because army groups is the one thing that everyone has been honestly talking about, and you can see where there's some good and there's some bad, right? There's honestly some good and bad on the army group side. Everyone's memeing too on army groups, which I absolutely love. And we're going to talk about it because I've honestly been looking at army groups, and at first I was a little bit hesitant about it, but you know, as days keep going, I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking logically. If this was my company, why would I introduce this, right? And I'm going to talk about it, right? So if you don't know what army groups are, I'm just going to quickly explain it for those players that might be in Belleron or maybe just sign out the game, right? Army groups is a brand new mechanic in Winter is Upon Us, right? This is a mechanic where players, so you can send a legion into an army group, and when you send your march into an army group, whoever created it has control of it. So what that means is you can send up to, as you can see, 5 legions into one army group, and you can have 10 groups. So if you do some quick maths, that means 50 legions can be controlled by 10 individual players, which is really cool because obviously it means they can have a little bit more infrastructure when it comes to, as you can see, cavalry and infantry, because that's the only 2 units you can do this with, right? And it makes sense on a cavalry level because cavalry do kind of want to work together. All the cavalryans do want to kind of get into groups and just go on the flanks and just do some chaos in the back line. They just roll the D20 dice and hit nat 20s all the time. You know what they're like, right? And that's kind of their jam. And same with kind of infantry. It would make sense with infantry because the army group, you kind of want to join together so you can push together in like a really good frontline formation, right? So again, really do like the way this is set up. But now let's talk about the hot stuff. What are the issues? Because as you can see, and as I've explained it, this is basically multi-boxing. For the past goddamn months, we've been talking about multi-boxing. This is it. This is what we've been talking about. And people are saying, you can't do it in the game. Bro, the devs just said, fuck you, bro. Yes, you can. And guess what? We will do it ourselves. Because this is what I think is actually a good thing. And this is where I'm actually praising the devs. This is no shot at the dev, because this is actually a good thing. The devs clearly see players, and a lot of players, want multi-boxing. They're using emulators. They're using third-party softwares to get around, right, to use multi-boxing. So they went, do you know what? Why not just add it to the game? Just add it into the game. If there's so much of a want for this mechanic, why not just bring it to the game and let everyone get access to it? So then no one is at an unfair disadvantage. And I like that. That actually makes sense, right? On top of that, and this is where I honestly want to give potentially this assumption to the devs. And this is a massive assumption, guys. And don't say, you can't quote, this is fact. It's just an assumption, right? Call it a conspiracy theory. But I honestly think the devs have done this on purpose too, because if they've been able to create multi-boxing, as you can see, they're going to be able to add that code, hopefully, in their anti-cheat software. And as you guys know, I am a massive advocate for anti-cheat software. That's what my whole channel's been blowing up for recently, right? I've been the guy shouting out loud, pointing fingers at just really weird situations and being like, look, if there is cheating here, you guys need to fucking sort it out, because people are spending tons of money on your mobile game for an experience being exploited and being basically spoiled, right, by cheating. And it's just not what you do. It's like going to a casino and people saying the casinos are rigged. They can't be rigged because that is just against the law. You know what I'm saying? Obviously the odds are, we know that, but the actual game itself, it's not, right? You can't rig the game. So it's the same concept here. And I honestly think the devs are going to add this to that anti-cheat software, because if you think about it, this is for infantry and cavalry groups. If they have this code in the anti-cheat software and they're running it and they're running it and they're running it, and they somehow see through data being gathered that ranged units And now in these groups, these big groups, and they're all attacking the same targets all at the same time, well, they have a reference now. They actually have reference code on how that works, and they can see, are these guys actually exploiting, or are they actually just really good communicating? Because they can see that again through the internet ping, right? From whenever you ping data, so I don't know if you guys know anything about internet, if you do an action on your computer, it pings that data from your computer down the internet, boom, 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 straight over to Lilith's servers. They go, okay, we know what's going, and they ping it instantly back, basically, to you. All happens in milliseconds, right? That's how the internet works, right? So if they can see all these pings come in and it doesn't add up, they can obviously now investigate it. And what I hope they do is that when they go to investigate, they might have a robot. They might have AI that might gather all the data. So this thing might, see all the pings, see all the data, they track all the players, blah, 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 and then present it in a massive folder with all the stuff to a person. Because at the end of the day, I think a person at the end of the line, me, you, name anyone who could be a dev member, right? Just pretend, right? Those players need to basically look at that evidence and just check, is this guy actually cheating, and do a real investigation? Because I think that with the army groups that we've been talking about is what everyone's kind of been wanting. Everyone's been wanting this kind of layering and security and just downright a good product for them to play on, especially when they're spending so much money in the game, right? So now let's bring it back to the army groups, because obviously we've been talking about the army groups and how I believe it's a good thing. I'm going to be honest, I do believe it's a good thing, and how obviously assuming the devs are going to potentially use it to improve the anti-cheat software, again, a good thing. Now let's talk about the bad. The bad. Because there is honestly one big issue with army groups that I'm going to be honest with. And obviously, this is going to be down to the rewards. You guys will know the seasonal talents, honestly, for army groups are kind of great when it comes to being in an army group. So what we're talking about is your unyielding army. We're talking about the Thundering Stampede. Really good talents where if you get these bad boys, you're doing a ton of damage, right? Same with Field Morale, ton of damage. Again, just so much. Great talents for being in an army group. We love the stats. That's what players want when we're playing in these things. But the problem is the rewards now. Because even though players are saying this is going to be impossible to obtain, getting over 100k merits per week, I don't honestly think it is. I think getting in 5% isn't honestly going to be what you expect. I think you're going to get this quite easily now with all of the army group buffs that you have. That's the issue. I don't think, if this was not, if you can imagine if you took all of this out and we only had army groups and we didn't have unyielding army and we didn't have furious counterattack and we didn't have hack and slash and logical support and the glory bound, which increases all the damage dealt, I would 100% agree with you. I would 100% agree with you. But because there's actually so much good support for army groups, especially for infantry and cavalry this season, I honestly think this is going to be easy, especially if you're a cav group. Cavalry army groups are going to be laughing at earning over 100k a week. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly think you need to increase the rewards for it, right? Even if you just put this to like 300k merits per week, that would be fine. Even if it might be unobtainable for infantry players, cavalry players could get it, right? They could potentially get that. It's down to how good that player is with the army groups. And this kind of branches on to the next bit of the reward structure, right? When it comes to the conquest achievements. Because if you scroll all the way down, you can see we have 500k, 1 million, and 2 million. That's within an entire season. So they are trying to say to us, potentially, it's going to be hard to get 2 million merits while in army groups. But again, it's the rewards, man. Why are you giving players artifact keys for working together in a clear group that is very commander-centric? It is, because you have to be sending your good infantry commanders to the player and that player is using them and he's hoping they're good commanders. You know what I mean? So why are you not just giving gold keys here, for one, would be a lot better. Or even better, generational free tokens, and even increase this maybe, right? Depending on, again, how easy this is going to be. We're all making assumptions here. Remember, this is an assumption on how easy these merits are going to be because we haven't been able to test it yet, but it's going to be happening very, 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 very soon. So I will let you know how much merit you're able to obtain through army groups, and we will do an update on this video about that. But I honestly wanted to make this right now, kind of talk about it before everything goes crazy, so you can kind of see how I'm thinking about the whole army group situation. And then let's see if it changes. Let's see if I think it's actually hard to get those merits or not. Love to hear your comments down below. Do you kind of agree with what I'm saying? Like, with how, you know, army groups are technically a good thing. It's kind of an interesting mechanic in the game. People like it, but technically it is a cop-out to multi-boxing. But at the same time, are the devs potentially doing this to add it into their anti-cheat software, which would be a really good move by them if they are doing that, right? Let's be real with each other, right? So I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts about army groups down below. Obviously, the devs watch these videos, as you guys know, so if you put enough comments down there, smash the like, share this about to everyone, and put your own, you know, what you feel about it. Maybe they might buff army groups, or maybe they change them. Who knows, right? But obviously, that can't happen without your guys' voice. So until the next video, you know what to do. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. Share it about. And until then, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.